Millionaire thought money was everything, until he met a poor girl who changed his life. On a rainy night in the illuminated streets of New York, Victor Almeida, the billionaire who believed money bought everything, found a girl alone, abandoned on a park bench, shivering from cold and hunger. He, leaving a late-night meeting, stopped his luxury car on impulse, something rare in his controlled life. "What is a child doing here alone?" he thought. But as he approached, she looked at him with big eyes and said, "You look rich. Can you help me?" No one expected this girl to change everything. The girl, about 10 years old, was huddled under an old jacket, her hair wet and stuck to her face, and Victor felt a strange discomfort, something he hadn't experienced in years. "Go home," he said, but she replied, "I have no home." The mystery began there. Who was this abandoned girl, and why had fate placed her in the path of a man who despised weakness? The rain fell harder, as if the sky conspired to unite them. Victor, always practical, called the police, but something in her eyes stopped him. "I just need food," she pleaded, and he, against his nature, took her to a nearby restaurant. While eating, she told fragments of her life on the streets, leaving Victor intrigued. What would this girl do to shake his beliefs? The doubt grew, promising an unexpected transformation. No one in the company imagined that the powerful Victor Almeida, known for his coldness, would have his life turned upside down by an abandoned child. Rumors began to emerge in the company hallways about a girl who had been rescued by the boss in a New York square. The suspense built. How could a street girl teach lessons to a titan of the corporate world? Hello, I'm Marcos Paulo, your narrator. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, and comment from which city you're watching. This is the story of a man who thought money was everything, until he met a girl who changed his worldview. Prepare for an emotional journey full of surprises where the true value of life is revealed. Have you ever questioned if your material wealth is enough? The girl, named Luna, didn't seem intimidated by the luxury around her. She looked at Victor with eyes full of empathy, as if she saw beyond his armor of power. The conflict loomed, a billionaire empty inside versus a poor child, but rich in heart. What would happen next? The promise of an emotional revelation hung in the air, leaving the reader anxious to discover what led to this improbable encounter. The night fell over the city, and Victor still hadn't decided what to do with Luna, whose presence intrigued him more and more. "But what will this girl do to change a man like me?" he thought, as she began to tell a simple story of her life on the streets. The instigating doubt grew. Would it be possible for a child to teach lessons to a magnate? The suspense built, promising answers that would shake deep convictions. Finally, Victor allowed her to stay a little longer, feeling a curiosity he hadn't experienced in years. The promise was clear. This girl would bring an emotional change he never imagined, a suspense that made the heart beat faster. What would come next could redefine everything he believed about money and happiness, leaving a spark of hope in the air. Victor Almeida was the most powerful billionaire in New York, owner of a real estate empire built from scratch with fierce determination. At 50 years old, he lived in an opulent mansion in Manhattan, surrounded by luxuries like imported cars and valuable works of art, but with no one to share that abundance. His routine was a sequence of endless meetings and decisions that moved millions, leaving little space for personal reflections or true relationships. Despite his wealth, Victor faced a deep difficulty, a loneliness that consumed him from within, the fruit of years prioritizing money above all. He had grown up in a poor neighborhood where poverty motivated him to rise in life, but that ascent distanced him from friends and family, leaving him isolated in a world of empty opulence. "Money solves everything," he repeated to himself, but deep down, he felt a void that no purchase could fill. A vulnerable trait in Victor generated empathy. His hidden generosity with charity institutions, anonymous donations that helped orphanages and hospitals, a remnant of his humble origin. However, he never admitted it, hiding that nobility under a shell of arrogance and coldness. His employees respected him, but feared him, seeing him as an implacable leader who tolerated no weaknesses. His greatest desire was absolute recognition, to be seen as the man who conquered the world with his financial cunning, but deep down, he longed for human connections that money didn't buy. He wanted a family, a legacy beyond numbers, but his obsession with success prevented him from seeing that. Money is power, and power is everything, he thought, ignoring the inner voice that whispered otherwise. Victor still had no power to change his own loneliness, trapped in a work cycle that emotionally exhausted him. He avoided relationships, fearing being seen as weak, and spent sleepless nights staring at the ceiling, questioning if it was worth it. Luna's arrival would be the catalyst, but at that moment, he was just a rich man, but poor in spirit. In the company, Victor was known as the King of Concrete, a nickname that highlighted his domination in the real estate market, but also his rigidity. His days started early, with strong coffees and financial reports, ending late, alone in his mansion. He collected awards and honors, but none filled the void left by the absence of true, affective ties. Victor's vulnerability manifested in solitary moments, like when he saw happy families through the window of his armored car. He secretly desired a simpler life, but the fear of losing control kept him trapped. His inner nobility, however, shone in discreet actions, like anonymously helping needy families, a trait that humanized him. In the end, Victor was a man who believed in money as a solution for everything, but whose current life revealed the limitations of that belief. He had no power to alter his loneliness, but the journey beginning with Luna promised to show that true change comes from the heart, not from the wallet. An unexpected financial crisis hit Victor's empire, with stocks plummeting due to corruption rumors in a real estate project. He, who always controlled everything, saw his world shaken, with investors withdrawing funds and the press attacking him mercilessly. "This is the end," he thought, while reading the bad reports, feeling the ground disappear under his luxurious feet. On the same day, Luna reappeared at the company, passing through security inexplicably again, bringing a simple drawing of a happy family. "I saw you on TV, you looked sad," she said, ignoring the chaos around her. Victor, irritated with the crisis, tried to ignore her, but she insisted, "Money doesn't buy true friends." This worsened his frustration, as if the girl knew his weak point. A powerful rival, Carlos Mendez, emerged as the antagonist, spreading the rumors to bring down Victor and take his market. Mendez, an unscrupulous businessman, hired detectives to dig into Victor's life, exposing secrets from his poor past. "He rose, stepping on others," Mendez declared in an interview, amplifying the threat. Victor felt impotence grow, unable to contain the financial hemorrhage or the bad fame that spread. His employees looked at him with doubt, and creditor calls didn't stop, creating a siege that suffocated him. He, who always won, now saw his empire at risk, without knowing how to react. Luna, perceiving his anguish, offered childish advice. "Maybe you need friends, not money." That subtle hint suggested a change, but Victor dismissed it, still trapped in his mentality. However, her words echoed, planting a seed of doubt in his hardened mind. Mendez's threat intensified, with lawsuits threatening to freeze Victor's assets. He spent sleepless nights, reviewing contracts and calling lawyers, but nothing seemed enough. The crisis worsened his loneliness, making him question if money really was everything. Luna didn't give up, returning the next day with a flower picked from the street. "To remind you that there is free beauty," she said. That persistence was a subtle threat to his worldview, forcing him to confront his emptiness. The sensationalist press amplified the scandal, with headlines like "Billionaire in free fall," turning Victor's life into a public hell. He isolated himself more, but Luna's words lingered, hinting at a path out of the darkness. During an emergency meeting, Mendez invaded Victor's office with a sarcastic smile, offering a hostile takeover of the company. "You think money buys everything, but now see where it led you," Mendez mocked, listing Victor's failures in front of his executives. Victor, furious, tried to respond, but the words failed, leaving him exposed as never before. The employees, once loyal, murmured doubts, and one of them, a traitor, revealed internal information to Mendez. Victor felt the betrayal like a stab, his authority crumbling. "You're pathetic," Mendez said, leaving with a laugh, leaving Victor alone in his empty office, the weight of humiliation crushing him. Luna, who had followed Victor to the company, saw the scene from the door and tried to console. "Don't pay attention to him," she said, but Victor, enraged, expelled her. "Get out of here, girl! You don't understand anything about money or power," he shouted, making her retreat with tears. The rejection to an innocent child amplified his shame. The media captured the moment, publishing photos of Victor defeated, with titles like "The Fall of the King of Money." Fake friends abandoned him, and creditor calls bombarded him, reinforcing the emotional inequality that isolated him. He locked himself at home, drinking alone, feeling the pain of loneliness. Luna, hurt by the rejection, cried on the streets, but didn't give up. "He needs help," she thought, planning to return. This humiliation of Victor was rock bottom, but a spark of revenge against Mendez began to grow in his chest. The humiliation extended to his personal life. Ex-girlfriends criticized him publicly, exposing his coldness. Victor saw his image destroyed, money not buying reputation. Rage consumed him, but Luna's words echoed, hinting at a different path. The next day, Mendez sent a mocking email proposing a meeting to save the company. Victor, humiliated, considered accepting, but the memory of Luna stopped him. The internal pain was unbearable, making him question his life for the first time. Finally, the humiliation culminated in a call from an old mentor saying, "You got lost in the money." This broke him, but planted the seed of change. A spark of hope emerged. Maybe Luna was right, and revenge would come through a transformation. Victor, at rock bottom, found Luna again in the square, where he saw her for the first time. "Forgive me for expelling you," he said, and she responded, "Everyone makes mistakes. Want to learn to be happy without money?" That phrase planted a new idea in his mind, an unexpected restart. He took her home, offering temporary shelter, and Luna began to show small joys, cooking together, walking in the park. "Happiness is sharing," she said, and he laughed, feeling the ice in his heart melt. He decided to try, even without knowing how. Luna revealed being an orphan, living on the streets after fleeing an abusive orphanage. "I help people because someone helped me once," she told, offering unexpected help, teaching empathy. Victor, touched, began to change his routine, canceling meetings to spend time with her. He discovered an old diary of his mother, which spoke of simple values, reinforcing Luna's lessons. Maybe money isn't everything, he thought, deciding to fight Mendez not with power, but with integrity. The seed of overcoming germinated. Luna encouraged him to visit the orphanage where she lived, where he saw real poverty. That motivated him to donate anonymously, a small act that changed his perspective. He felt the desire for change grow, step by step. Mendez, perceiving Victor's absence, sent threats, but he ignored, focusing on Luna. "You can be better," she said, and he believed. Hope became real, though fragile in the face of Mendez's threats. Victor began to read books on empathy, inspired by Luna, changing his attitude with employees. Small progresses appeared, smiles in meetings, personal donations. The change was subtle, but deep. At the end of the day, Victor looked at Luna sleeping and felt gratitude. The seed was planted. Now it needed watering. He decided to fight, with Luna as guide, towards a more meaningful life. Victor began to learn with Luna, cooking simple meals in his gourmet kitchen, something new for him. "See, happiness is sharing," she said, and he laughed, feeling the ice in his heart melt. This new skill humanized him, bringing him closer to his team. He took on voluntary work at the orphanage, cleaning and talking to children, facing challenges like initial rejection. "You're rich. What do you know about suffering?" they questioned, but Luna encouraged him, "Show it with actions." Small progresses came. A child smiled at him for the first time. Mendez, the villain, perceived the change and intensified the attacks, leaking more rumors. He's crazy, adopting a beggar, he spread, threatening Victor's empire. The pressure grew, but Victor persisted, donating part of his fortune to social causes. Luna taught him empathy through street stories, and Victor applied that in meetings, listening to employees. "Thanks for opening my eyes," he said to her, feeling hope strengthen, though fragile in the face of Mendez's threats. He faced a challenge. A child at the orphanage got sick, and Victor paid for the treatment, gaining trust. "You're changing," Luna said, and he agreed, seeing progresses in his personal life, like reconnecting with distant relatives. Mendez hired spies to sabotage Victor's donations, creating false scandals. The threat grew, but Victor counterattacked with transparency, publishing honest reports. Hope became real, sustained by Luna's presence. Victor learned to meditate with Luna, reducing stress from corporate battles. Small acts like helping neighbors accumulated, strengthening his journey. The fragility of hope kept him vigilant. In the end, Victor saw Luna as a daughter, and she called him uncle. The journey evolved with constant challenges, but the change was evident. Mendez planned a final blow, but Victor was ready, transformed by the girl he found on the street. Mendez launched a devastating attack, suing Victor for fraud, freezing his assets, and exposing him in the media. "It's the end of your empire," he threatened, and Victor, overloaded, suffered a nervous breakdown, hospitalized for stress. "I failed," he thought, considering giving up everything. Luna, upon learning, ran to the hospital, but was blocked by security. "He needs me," she shouted, but Mendez had bribed employees to isolate him. The betrayal almost destroyed the progress, leaving Victor alone in his room, questioning if it was worth continuing. He thought about selling the company to Mendez, ending the fight. "Money was everything, and now I don't even have that," he murmured, the emotional pain worse than the physical. Luna, from outside, cried, feeling her influence had failed. A compassionate nurse allowed Luna to enter secretly. "Don't give up," she said, holding his hand. That tested Victor's faith, who almost gave in to depression, but Luna's words made him reflect on his journey. At the peak of despair, Victor received a call from an old friend, revealing Mendez's fraud. "You can turn it around," he said. Victor, inspired, decided to fight even weak. For Luna, he thought, taking a courageous decision, expose Mendez publicly. Luna encouraged him. "You are more than money." He got up from the bed, calling lawyers to counterattack. The almost fatal obstacle strengthened him, showing that true strength comes from the heart. The press reported the collapse, amplifying the humiliation, but Victor saw an opportunity. "I'll use this against him," he planned, with Luna by his side. The relapse was hard, but the resurgence would be triumphant. In the end, Victor took a new decision: sue Mendez for defamation using collected evidence. The journey continued, with the spark of hope rekindled by Luna's persistence. A private detective, secretly hired by Victor, revealed that Mendez was Luna's biological father, abandoning her years ago. He left her on the streets to hide a scandal, the detective said, delivering documents. This revelation changed everything, connecting Luna to Mendez unexpectedly. Victor, shocked, understood why Luna found him, destiny or coincidence. "You are his daughter," he told Luna, who cried, processing the betrayal. The secret shook the journey, but strengthened his determination against Mendez. A mysterious ally emerged, a former Mendez employee who offered internal evidence of corruption. "I saw everything," the man said, revealing stolen files. Victor gained a powerful weapon, understanding his own vulnerability better. Luna, upon learning of the paternity, felt anger, but forgave Victor for his initial coldness. "You saved me," she said, helping to plan the counterattack. The protagonist saw in himself a changed man, ready to use money for good. The ally, named Rafael, was a whistleblower fired by Mendez. "I want justice," he said, offering testimony. A plan formed. Expose Mendez in the media with irrefutable evidence. Victor and Luna grew closer, with her revealing repressed memories of her father. He abandoned me, she told, strengthening the bond with Victor. The suspense grew. The confrontation would be epic. Rafael brought more secrets. Mendez planned to buy Victor's company cheaply. Now it's our turn, Victor said, feeling the power of truth. The revelation united allies, changing the trajectory. In the end, Victor understood that money without purpose was empty. The mysterious ally and the revelation about Luna prepared the ground for the final battle, with suspense in the air. What would Mendez do when confronted? Victor decided to confront Mendez in a public meeting, using Rafael's evidence to expose his corruption. "It's time to end this," he said to Luna, who supported him. He had grown a lot, from selfish to protector, ready to risk everything. In the crowded conference room, Mendez smiled arrogantly. "You lost, Victor," he said, but Victor replied, "Not when I have the truth." How much he had changed was evident, using Luna's lessons to keep calm. At stake was his dream of a life with purpose, his dignity, and Luna's future. "For her, I'll go to the end," Victor thought, remembering the girl on the bench. Mendez seemed unbeatable, with lawyers by his side. The tension grew as Victor presented the evidence. False documents, Luna's abandonment. The audience gasped. Journalists noted. Mendez denied, but sweat on his forehead betrayed fear. Luna, in the front row, looked proud. Victor quoted his journey. "Money doesn't buy family." Mendez counterattacked, calling him a hypocrite, but Victor kept focus, showing growth. The antagonist used dirty tactics, threatening to sue, but Victor revealed Mendez's kinship with Luna. "You abandoned her," he accused, leaving Mendez pale. The tension was palpable. The audience murmured, and Victor felt victory near. Mendez tried to flee, but journalists surrounded him. The decisive moment approached, with Victor ready for the final blow. Suspended in the air, the confrontation promised a dramatic turn. Victor, transformed, faced the man who humiliated him, with Luna as inspiration. The tension culminated, leaving everyone anxious for the outcome. In the meeting, Victor revealed the DNA proving Mendez was Luna's father, shocking everyone. "You left her on the street," he shouted, using empathy lessons to expose hypocrisy. Mendez denied, but evidence cornered him, creating an intense scene. Luna went up on stage, confronting her father. "Why did you abandon me?" The discussion escalated, with Mendez attacking Victor, but he replied calmly, sacrificing his privacy for justice. The difficult choice was to reveal everything. Victor sacrificed a lucrative partnership to fully expose Mendez, losing millions but gaining integrity. "Money isn't everything," he declared, using everything learned from Luna. The bombshell revelation came. Mendez had defrauded taxes. The audience exploded in applause, and Mendez was arrested right there. Victor hugged Luna, feeling victory. The emotional struggle was greater than the physical, with sacrifice paying the price. Mendez, handcuffed, murmured threats, but Victor responded, "You lost because you never understood the value of people." The scene was grandiose, with camera flashes capturing the moment. Luna cried, thanking Victor, "You are my father now." He felt redemption, the climax marking the end of his old life. The dramatic turn was complete, with partial victory, money lost but soul gained. The tension dissolved into relief, with Victor and Luna united. The direct confrontation changed everything, leaving Mendez destroyed and Victor transformed. In the end, Victor officially adopted Luna, sealing the climax with love. The journey culminated in a new beginning, with the antagonist defeated and the protagonist reborn. Mendez's prison shocked the corporate world, with headlines proclaiming his fall. Victor lost millions in the stock market, but gained public respect for his integrity. Luna, now safe, cried with relief, but the street trauma persisted. Victor's employees applauded his courage, uniting more with the company. "You inspired us," they said, but he fired traitors, cleaning house. The change was drastic, with Victor questioning, was it worth it? Luna adapted to the new life, but nightmares woke her. Victor consoled her, strengthening their bond. Mendez, in prison, swore revenge, creating residual tension. The victory was bittersweet. The press surrounded Victor, praising him as a hero. He donated more to charity, changing focus. Luna began therapy, healing wounds. The impact was immediate, transforming their lives. Friends reappeared, offering support, but Victor was cautious. "I learned from Luna," he said. The financial loss hurt, but Mendez's greed ruined him completely. Suspense. Would Mendez escape? Distant relatives contacted Victor, reconnecting. Luna gained a family but missed the streets. The consequence was positive, with hope in the air. Victor reflected, "I lost money, gained a daughter." Luna smiled, calling him father. Was it worth it? Yes, but the emotional cost was high, leaving a deep lesson. The city saw Victor as an example, inspiring changes. Mendez rotted in jail, his threat neutralized. The climax led to a new balance, with lives changed forever. Victor sat in his empty office, contemplating the journey, from the encounter with Luna to Mendez's defeat. Money was my idol, but she showed me the true value, he thought, seeing the meaning in the pain of financial loss. The lesson was clear. Material wealth is empty without human purpose. Luna taught him that happiness comes from connections, not from goods. "I was blind," he admitted, reflecting on his past loneliness. The purpose emerged: help others, as Luna helped him, transforming his life. "Pain shapes us, but love heals us," he concluded, quoting Luna's words about her life on the streets. This reflection connected with the audience, inviting to question material priorities versus emotional ones. He now saw that money facilitated, but didn't substitute relationships. "I lost everything to gain the essential," he thought, feeling gratitude for Luna. The lesson was universal: seek meaning beyond success. Victor shared that wisdom with employees, inspiring changes in the company. "Be generous," he said, echoing Luna's lessons. The reflection deepened, showing personal growth. Luna, for her part, reflected, "He thought money was everything, but learned that the heart is worth more." Together they understood that the journey was mutual, a lesson in empathy and resilience for everyone. For the public, the story was a mirror. How many prioritize money over people? Victor's transformation invited deep reflection on real values. Finally, Victor promised to live by the lesson, helping more street children. The reflection closed with hope. Money is a tool. Love is everything. Victor reunited with his distant sister, abandoned years ago by his ambition. "Forgive me for leaving you," he said, crying in a long hug. She forgave. "You've changed." The scene was cathartic, with tears washing the past. Luna confronted Mendez in prison, forgiving him for abandoning her. "You gave me the chance to find Victor," she said, leaving him reflective. Forgiveness freed her, inspiring Mendez to repent. Victor forgave the traitor in the company, offering a second chance. "I learned from Luna," he explained, reconnecting the team. The reconciliation was emotional, with hugs and promises of loyalty. Luna reunited with a street friend, now in an orphanage supported by Victor. "You saved me indirectly," the friend said, crying. Luna inspired, showing her growth as a compassionate being. Raphael, the ally, visited Victor, revealing his own story of loss. "You gave me purpose," he said, strengthening bonds. Victor hired him, creating a professional family. Victor bid farewell to his mother at the cemetery, asking forgiveness aloud. "Now I understand," he whispered, feeling peace. Luna accompanied him, consoling. "She forgives you." The scene was touching, with gentle wind as approval. Reconnected friends celebrated with Victor and Luna, a reconciliation party. "You changed everything," they said, and he responded, "Luna changed." The reunion inspired everyone around. The catharsis culminated in Victor officially adopting Luna, sealing mutual forgiveness. Tears, hugs, and revealed truths marked the moment, showing how much he had changed as a human. Victor reconquered his company, with stocks rising after Mendes' exposure. He gained recognition as a philanthropist, conquering awards and applause. Money returned, but now with purpose. Mendes was sentenced to long prison, paying for his crimes. Justice was done, Victor said, feeling relief. Mendes recognized his error in a letter. You won with heart, not money. Victor found love with a compassionate woman, forming a family with Luna. The reward was emotional, genuine happiness beyond recovered status. He donated more, inspiring others. Luna gained a stable life, elite education, and paternal love. You saved me, she said to Victor, who responded, You saved me. Mutual recognition generated deep satisfaction. Victor's company prospered with new ethics, focusing on sustainability. Employees praised him, and he created funds for street children, a legacy of justice. Mendes lost everything, his family abandoning him. Underestimated the power of good, he admitted in a prison interview. Justice was poetic, with Victor emerging stronger. Victor received the Humanitarian Award of the Year, dedicating it to Luna. She taught me the real value. The audience applauded, feeling the emotion of the transformation. The final reward was the legacy. Victor, once obsessed with money, became a symbol of redemption. Justice against Mendes and happiness with Luna generated complete emotional satisfaction. A year later, Victor lived a balanced life, prioritizing family and charity. He and Luna traveled, helping poor communities, with him teaching ethical business to young people. The mansion was now a welcoming home, full of laughter. Luna adapted to school, making friends and dreaming of helping others like Victor helped her. I want to be like you, she said, and he responded, Be better. Her inspiration cycle began with more wisdom. Victor founded an NGO for street children, with Luna as child ambassador. They rescued more Lunas, creating a movement. The journey was complete, but a new chapter opened. Raphael, now a partner, managed the company, allowing Victor more free time. You gave me a second chance, he said. Victor reconnected with the past, visiting his birth neighborhood to help. Luna inspired a national campaign, raising funds. Everyone deserves a family, she preached, gaining admirers. Victor saw her grow, proud of her maturity. The city celebrated Victor as a reformed hero, with statues and awards. He wrote a book about his transformation, encouraging readers to value relationships over money. The new beginning included marrying his partner, forming a complete family. Luna gained siblings, and Victor felt peace. The audience saw the cycle close, with hope for the future. Victor and Luna planted a tree in the square where they met, symbolizing growth. Here it all began, they said, ready to inspire more, with more wisdom and maturity. Victor reflected, Money was my idol, but Luna showed me the true treasure, love and connections. The lesson was deep. Material wealth is empty without human purpose. He saw the meaning in the journey, from loneliness to fullness. Luna taught that happiness comes from connections, not from goods. I was blind, he admitted, reflecting on his past loneliness. The purpose emerged, help others, as Luna helped him, transforming his life. Pain shapes us, but love heals us, he concluded, quoting Luna's words about her life on the streets. This reflection connected with the audience, inviting to question material priorities versus emotional ones. He now saw that money facilitated, but didn't substitute relationships. I lost everything to gain the essential, he thought, feeling gratitude for Luna. The lesson was universal. Seek meaning beyond success. Victor shared that wisdom with employees, inspiring changes in the company. Be generous, he said, echoing Luna's lessons. The reflection deepened, showing personal growth. Luna, for her part, reflected, he thought money was everything, but learned that the heart is worth more. Together, they understood that the journey was mutual, a lesson in empathy and resilience for everyone. For the public, the story was a mirror. How many prioritize money over people? Victor's transformation invited deep reflection on real values. Finally, Victor promised to live by the lesson, helping more street children. The reflection closed with hope. Money is a tool. Love is everything. Marcos Paulo closes. This story reminds us that money doesn't buy happiness. What will you do today to change? A call to action, leaving lasting impact. The narrator finalizes, subscribe for more inspiring stories, like and share. The reflective conclusion closes with hope and memorable lesson. End of the story, but the invitation remains. Be the change Luna was for Victor. Live with heart, not with wallet.